Going to call to order the May 9th, 2023 remote participation open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. I want to read the following legalese. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting identification number 833-6548-0732 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Samantha Benoit, Administrative Coordinator at sbenoit@ayer.mass.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 114 prior to the meeting. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go in. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Ken? Chair says aye, it's unanimous. I need a motion to continue the site plan. I need two motions, but first to open the site plan for the hearing for the site plan special permit, stormwater permit hearings for Nasoya Foods. Can we open that? Need a motion?
Sure. I move that we open the continued site plan for special permit and stormwater permit for Nasoya Foods USA, 1 New England Way.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Fantastic. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Ken? And the chair votes aye, it's unanimous. We're opening it. Now I need a motion to continue it to the next meeting on the 23rd.
Sure. I move that we continue the site plan review for a special permit and stormwater permit for Nasoya Foods USA, 1 New England Way to the next meeting, the Ayer Planning Board on May 23rd.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Cindy, do you know why we're getting the chipmunk voices in the background?
I'm
It's
trying to
Ken's
figure
mic.
out who that is.
It's Ken's mic.
Is it Ken's
I
mic?
mean that with love, Ken. It's nice to see you
thought
again.
it was Ken. I didn't want to.
I know, I did it. I'm sorry, Ken.
I had a second on that?
I seconded.
Okay, Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Ken? Yes, it definitely is you, Ken. I'm afraid that there's something going on. We can't even hear you right now.
So I've seen this happen to other people in the past, Ken, and what they do, they exit Zoom and come back in.
Okay,
And sometimes it takes a reboot.
okay. Chair votes aye. Yeah, we have a yes to the continuance. I just want to give a moment for Ken to return, and then we can make motions for the Lex Fest group at 0 Scully Road. Same deal, no deliberation tonight. Fortunately, we have a representative for 0 Bly Street. I believe that would be Cal as the engineer. And Cal, we're going to get to you in about 2 minutes. Cal, are you able to put up the plan for Bly Street up on the screen if Cindy gives you the permission to share?
Yep, I've got it ready to go.
Perfect.
I have a
Okay, great.
couple things to show you.
Thank you.
Okay, permissions are all set.
Okay, thank you. Ken?
Ken, can you say something?
I'm back.
All right, you sound great.
Okay,
Excellent.
So I'm looking for a motion to open the public hearing for Lex Vest Group 0 Scully Road.
I move that we open the site plan public hearing for Lex Best Group Ayer LLC at 0 Scully Road.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Excellent. Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Ken?
Yes.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. I need a motion to continue the public hearing for 0 Scully Road to the next Ayer Planning Board meeting on May 23rd.
I move that we continue the site plan public hearing of Lexfest Group Ayer LLC at 0 Scully Road to the next Ayer Planning Board meeting on May 23rd, 2023.
Excellent.
Seconded.
Julie, how do you vote?
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Yeah,
Discussion.
go ahead, Ken.
Did you want to make known the fact that you had a site visit?
We can't talk about that tonight. We can't
Okay.
deliberate. Okay, thank you.
Not a deliberation. It's just,
Yes, we did. I acknowledge that we had a site visit, but we can't talk about it tonight.
okay.
Thank you, Ken. We had a motion and a second. And Julie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Ken?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So it's open and now we need a continuance for the same thing.
That was the continuance.
That was a continuance. We're done. I'm sorry, people. I just got back from Mount Wachusett. I'm a little tired, a little scattered. Appreciate your patience. So what that brings us to is an A&R for 0 Bly Street. It is not, because it's not a site plan review, it doesn't require a public hearing. We're just going to go right into it. And we have our representative here, Cal Goldsmith. Cal, before you share anything on the screen, do you want to open with a narrative of any kind, or do you want to go right into the documents?
Well, I will actually share the screen and give you the narrative. It'll be helpful. I'm not
Perfect,
going to show you the document first. I'll show you a GIS picture.
perfect.
Can you see the picture?
Yes,
So this boundary here that you'll see my cursor following around is the parcel we're talking about. Right here, the upper rail yard parcel. I just wanted you to see this. This is Grove Pond, the water down at the southern end of it. This area in here is the area I'll talk about as having been filled. And then this is an existing building and an existing brick building. And this area up in the upper left-hand corner, northwest corner, is where the tannery used to be that burned down in 1961. I'm going to stop that share. And then I'll bring up. Close out. So,
yep,
okay, so this is the A&R plan. And the entire parcel is, as we just looked at on the outer boundary here, including Grove Pond, a portion of Grove Pond. This is the area that I said was the filled area. There's a peninsula of land here. It's actually connected by this narrow spit of land. This is an existing building that has a rail frontage right off the railroad. And this is where, right here is where the tannery was. You can see it's on a north is to the left on this plan as opposed to straight up and down. So the owner of this property is Plastics Distribution Corp. Reach Magnus, a local guy for many years. He wants to sell this property and there's a buyer. It's a light industrial zone, so I'm assuming it's a light industrial use to be coming in here. And the buyer said, we do not want Grove Pond. We do not want to purchase Grove Pond. We just want to buy the upland. So by mass law, we can't create a back parcel that just sits by itself with no frontage. Landlocked, unless it was to be conveyed to an adjoining owner, which we have not been able to do or find anybody that was interested in doing that. So we needed to cut that off, which means we had to have the frontage along here. I think it's 100 feet of frontage, and then a width going back of at least 25 feet to the pond itself. And that will create this parcel, which will then be held by the owner. And he would then be free to be able to sell the remainder of the property, which is all this upland, for the new buyer. Now there's, you'll see that because we had to have that certain amount of frontage, it comes across to where it's blocking Forest Street across the street. So we may, the owner may grant the buyer, and I'm sure the buyer will request that he grant the buyer an easement across this portion of the property, so they can bring their driveway in opposite Forest Street, which would make a lot more sense than having it over here. And this is an industrial building here. But that's fairly easily done. That shouldn't be an issue, but it will not impact the usability of this, which is basically zero anyway, so nobody will use it. And what this actually ends up having the effect of doing is preserving the line of trees all along this property line for screening, which we would, if we were doing a site plan, which we haven't been contacted by anybody about that, but if we were, that's something we very much want to retain, especially up in the front of the property here, where this serves as a screen from residential uses across the street here, across Bly Street. So all we're doing tonight is splitting off these two parcels from 1 into 2. The owner will retain this one, and the buyer will purchase this one. And if we are retained to come back to you with a site plan, you'll see that much of this property is in the floodplain. There's an area about 60,000 square feet roughly around here that's out of the floodplain. So we would be regrading and reconfiguring to bring that 60,000 square feet up to the front of the lot as much as possible, and then have the back of the lot be regraded lower in areas where it's above the floodplain to create compensatory flood storage. We cannot fill this lot to lose any flood storage. We have to do at least a 1-to-1 for flood storage. So, but that's if we're hired and if the owner comes in and he wants to develop this property, which I assume whoever is doing it will want to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Cal. I'd like to open the floor to questions.
I have a question. The for Cal, and that is if a deeded right of way is created through that second parcel across from Forest Street, are we going to go? I guess that would come to us in a site plan, and then we would review basically this drawing again.
Oh yeah, any development. The owner didn't want to just give that to these guys. I think they're going to ask for it, and maybe there'll be some compensation for it because they haven't asked for it yet, even though we had suggested they might want to. But if we were to do that, it would all be contained in a site plan for how this site was going to be developed, where the buildings would be, where the parking would be, how the site would be graded. And remember, we only have 60,000 square feet of usable upland. Now, that doesn't mean they couldn't use the area within the floodplain. They could, but they couldn't use it for anything that's going to occupy flood storage.
So this drawing may be very short-lived.
Well, this drawing all this does is create the lot. That's all it's doing.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, Ken.
So Cal, the two notes that are important to me are note number 3, if you could give us a little bit more on that. And the fact that right above what we signed is the board endorsement that is not a determination as to conformance with the zoning bylaw. So if you could just go through those two things, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So The activity and use limitation, let me see if I have. So I'm going to stop the share on this one. Pick up another one. So this, with the north arrow facing north, Bly Street's up here. This shows the tannery that used to be on this property. And if you'll notice this blue line, and these are based on historical documents that are not, I mean, this line might be 10 feet one way or another. But this is on a 1964 plan. This is where Grove Pond shoreline used to be, coming up into this area. And when the tannery burned down, I'm told they pushed an awful lot of debris into this area, into Grove Pond. And then after they had all the debris in there, then they started bringing sand in, and they just basically filled this. I've walked this site. You go out here and walk across this, you can almost feel it. You can almost feel a springiness to it. And the DEP, at one point when Reach Magnus bought this, they had to hire an LSP and do a full, this was a reportable situation to the DEP. They did a full 21E investigation of this, borings and everything. And the response to action outcome from the DEP was to place an activity and use limitation over this area, which basically means you can use it for certain things, you can't use it for other things, you can't dig in it. You can use it for industrial purposes, you can't use it for residential, you can't have a daycare center or a school or a church or anything like that. And you may not dig in this without having an LSP on site and observing the operation. And that's the limitation that was placed on this as a result of the DEP's involvement. So now I'll go back to the other plan here. So in the note, this note is typical of A&R plans. I think Dave puts it on all of them. It's not anything special for this plan.
Mhm.
And I think it's just a protection for the planning board that we're creating a lot that doesn't require subdivision approval. The only thing you can really take into account in an A&R plan is area and frontage, and at some level, meaningful access. But this is to protect the planning board. This is not a determination by you that this complies with all the zoning bylaws that there are.
Right.
This, by signing on this, all you're doing is saying that this lot is being created and does not require subdivision approval.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Julie, you have any comments or? No? All right.
I got one more. This is, you can ignore it if you want, Cal, but
Yeah.
Typically, the way I understand it, the standard is that when you break the lots up, the lots carry a number and parcels carry a letter. Does your firm does it matter to your firm which way you do it? Is it, it's incidental
No,
either way?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay,
If it was a subdivision plan, I think it would be more apt to be numbered like that.
okay.
If there are no further questions, I wonder if someone would entertain a motion to endorse.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ken.
I'll make a motion that the planning board arrive in person at the planning office and endorse the plan of land on Bly Street prepared for Plastic Distribution Corporation, creating Lot A and Lot B as shown on the plan dated 4/12/2023. I believe that's the date.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Nathan, how do you vote?
aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. It's unanimous, the endorsement. Next steps, Cal, when do you think you can bring this to Samantha's office at Town Hall for us to sign?
I can bring it in tomorrow. I'll have somebody bring it over there tomorrow for you.
Yeah, and I think the best person to leave it with is Samantha. Have you met her yet?
I have not, and you're sure you don't have it already?
We might.
I
Let
you
me look
might.
into that.
I will check, but I believe we had to submit the Mylar and 4 copies or 5 copies. So I think you probably have it with the application.
So I'll look, I'm making a note that I'll look into that. And so I'll look into that tomorrow. And then I can communicate to my colleagues on the board whether it's available for signature and where it'll be available for our signature. Is that fair enough for everybody?
Yep.
The
Yes.
other thing that I don't know is whether I need a formal write-up of this decision or not. I'm not sure. It's not a site plan. It's not a subdivision. I just don't know.
Jonathan?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
don't, all you have to do is have the planning board sign the plans. So they'll
Beautiful.
sign the Mylar, that's what gets recorded. And you'll also sign, usually there's 2 other large scale plans, paper ones that you'll sign. I know it's been a long time since you guys done an A&R. And then that way, one will stay with the file and then the applicant can take the other paper copy if they so choose, along with the Mylar that gets recorded.
Okay, great. So,
Yep, Heather's exactly right.
okay, great. So that's wonderful. Then that's all our business tonight. Thank you, everybody. This meeting is formally adjourned. I appreciate your
Thank you,
participation.
folks.
Thank you, Cal.